like some super hipper theme music right here.
Well, hey there. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Smooth Customs. And today, I had to wake up nice and early before the monster wakes up, because you know how that goes.
Dad.
Hey, monster.
What?
Anyways, on today's episode, we're finally going to be working on that rear center console for the Lexus LS400. Now, some of y'all have seen some of these before. I think DAD Garrison makes one. VIP'd Out makes one. Now, I personally like Garrison ones better because of the look. That's a preference thing. But I saw some guy install one in his Lexus, and the shit just drops in. Like, you turn a corner too hard, that shit is flying off to one side. So, I'm gonna remedy that. I'm gonna go ahead and fix it. Now, the plan is to make one similar to those styles. Like I said, I don't really like the Junction Produce one because that one kind of like wedges in the middle armrest, so you have to put your armrest down, and then has like a bottom platform and a top platform that kind of like sandwiches the armrest. Now this is cool. I think my friend TC Mustafa made one like that after he watched some of my previous videos. So, you know, shouts out to my boy right there. He's out there in the UK holding it down for the VIP scene. But anyways, yeah, so the plan is to make it look like those, and I'm gonna make sure it's nice and tight and nice and secure. So without further ado, let's get to it. Gotta work, man. Alright, so the first step, just like in all the other table builds, is to grab a piece of cardboard, a Sharpie, and some scissors, and make a template. Now, I already have my template made and cut out. So, this right here should sit something like that. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do is take our template here, and we're gonna go ahead and transfer it over to our piece of wood here. So, as you can see, we got our general shape traced. Now it's time to cut it out with the jigsaw. Let's get to cutting. So, we have our rough shape. So I got this thing all cleaned up with the edges all sanded smooth and rounded so that the chrome trim goes around it nice and easy. I did make a minor change. Originally, this part right here went down here and then went down this way. So I actually cut down more so that it was lower because it looked really crowded in there. So this part right here, I ended up going a little taller. The original armrest sits about here, so this is a little bit taller than the original armrest. And here, I'll show you. If I put the armrest down, as you can see, that's how much higher it is. But in this version of it, now there's another version of the table that actually looks good on the second gen Lexus GS, because this armrest on the GS is narrower, so you could use this part with the armrest down and then cut your center console so that you still retain your armrest. But in this version that I'm doing, my center console is going to be a little bit narrower than the actual armrest, and I'm going to be making a new armrest, and inside there is where I'm going to put my little ice chest to hide a couple of cans of soda. All right, so this part's done. The next part is I'm gonna use the table router to cut an exact copy of this side right here, and then we'll start working on the middle pieces. All right, now I got my second half traced. I'm gonna go ahead and use the jigsaw to cut this up. We got our rough cut done. Now I gotta set up the table router, clean this up. This is my brand new to me table router, and this is what makes it easier to make more than one copy. So now that I have this, I'll be able to replicate tables easier. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna use some double stick tape. Usually they say use template tape, and I did order some template tape, but it hasn't got here yet. So I'm just gonna use this 3M tape. It's not as thin as the template tape that I ordered, but it's gonna do the job. I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of pieces on there so that it keeps the top part, which is the part that I'm trying to copy, from moving. So let me wipe this down, stick a couple pieces of double stick tape, and then we'll get to routing. There we go. The router made it possible to make an exact copy quickly. So there it is. Came out pretty good, I think. Not bad at all. Look at that. A little bit of sandpaper just to clean these edges up, but it came out pretty good. Alright, so I went and borrowed this table saw from my neighbor Dan. He was kind enough to lend it to me. Originally, the plan was to have two of these cup holders side by side in the center console. But I did a test fit, and in order for me to fit both these cup holders, that's gonna increase the width of the center console, and I didn't like how it looked. It was just too bulky. You know, it was starting to get into the area of being just as wide as the armrest, and I didn't want that. I wanted to keep it slim profiled so that even though I'm basically taking up the center space in the back seat, I wanted the people that are sitting left or right of it to have space, because I'm just assuming that they're as big as me. So, or bigger, who knows. But anyways, big bitches, you know. So originally the plan was to take two of these cup holders and put them side by side. That would have had me do a width of 7 inches on the center console. I did a test fit using this piece, which is actually 6 inches, and I thought it fit perfect. Any bigger, it's too bulky. You know, I want it to be still comfortable for the people that sit in the back seat if they ever do. So that only gives me space to do one cup holder in the center, which I'm cool with, because if you remember, I did my rear tables behind the seats with cup holders. So one cup holder, no problem. Then I'll have 2 cup holders on those tables. And also what I'm gonna add to this is a cell phone holder. So it'll have 1 cup holder, the cell phone holder, a bottle holder, and the tissue dispenser. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut up some pieces so I can start making the center part of the console. Put this to the side. Let's get to cutting. All right, so pay attention because this part is important. All right, so I took all my 6-inch wide pieces and I placed them where they're gonna go. So next thing I did is I labeled all of them so I won't get confused, because this is gonna have a couple more pieces. And I placed them in this position, and I used a Sharpie. You can use a pencil or Sharpie, your choice. And I outlined where they're gonna be, right? Now that I did that, I'm gonna take this apart. and I'm gonna go ahead and pre-drill some holes, except for this part, because that's the armrest part, so it's not gonna be drilled. But here, I'll show you. I'm gonna pre-drill some holes, maybe right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, and right there. All right, so I'm gonna pre-drill some holes because I'm gonna stick screws on them to the other side. All right, so what I've done here is I've pre-drilled all my holes, and on the opposite side, and this is gonna be the side that's gonna get wrapped in the vinyl leather thing, I countersunk using this countersink bit so that so when I put the screws in, they won't stick out. And then go ahead and put the paste on, the wood paste, wait for it to dry, sand it, and then we're gonna be doing a flat black base coat and then wrapping it. This thing is pretty much good to go. Now, the next step is I'm gonna have to cut the hole right here for the tissue dispenser, hole here for the bottle holder, hole here for the cell phone holder, and the hole here for that cup holder. Now, this is the armrest. This is gonna come later. This is gonna get hinged, and it's also gonna get foamed and wrapped. All right, now this piece right here, I cut. It was 6 inches exactly as the rest, but I took a little bit off of it because I'm gonna wrap this in leather, and I'm gonna need the space for it to close. So that's why it's a little loose. So now that I got everything done, and I'm not gonna be taking this thing apart anymore, I'm gonna go ahead and fill the holes with this, what is it? Plastic wood all-purpose filler. So I'm gonna be filling all the spots where I put screws in this thing. Also, I decided not to glue it. I don't think it needs it since I put a lot of screws in this thing. So yeah, no glue, just screws. It's pretty sturdy. I'm gonna let this dry overnight, come back in the morning, flip it over, do the other side. So, these are pretty dry now. I'm gonna go ahead and sand these real quick. All right, oh, that looks pretty good. All right, so now that this is done, the next step is to paint all the exposed wood black, just to make it look nice and tight. Okay, so now we're gonna be drilling the holes for the bottle holder, the cup holder, the tissue dispenser, and the cell phone holder. For that, I'm gonna be using this right here. There we go. Alright, it's clean. That is the outline right there. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be cutting as close as possible to the inner circle. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut all the way around so that the hole is this part and the bezel is on the edge. First thing you do is go the hole right in the middle. Alright, now I've done this cell phone pocket before with a jigsaw and a hand router. This is my first time using a table router. It's supposed to be easier. Wish me luck. There we go. All done, and yes, it is definitely easier with the table router. Alright, it's been a while since I was on this project. I seem to have hit a snag with the original design, so I have to go back to the drawing board. I put this in for a test fit after I sprayed the edges in black, and the armrest would hit right here, so I couldn't open up my armrest when I was in the front. So I had to rethink my design and add this extra loop here and make a swap. Originally, this is where the tissue box was gonna go, and this was where the bottle went. So I had to flip-flop these, and the tissue box now goes here, and the bottle will go in this spot. Yeah, so I redid that, but I didn't redo that till this morning, so I didn't shoot that. I was kind of just trying to get this project back started because I kind of got mad and lost interest, got frustrated, and it does anyone no good to work on stuff that's, you know, this intricate when you're frustrated. So I just put it away, and I came back to it when I felt like I was ready to work on it again. All right, so where we're at now is basically back where we left off. I made some new tower pieces or levels here, and I still have my some of the original ones that I kept. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna use some of this wood glue to glue some of this Burl wood laminate sheets on top of my birch wood. So I got all my pieces have been cut and holes have been drilled out of them. So I'm gonna glue those in, and let me put this away. So what I'm gonna do is use a piece of scrap wood here and put my pieces in here. So I'm gonna glue the tops onto all these pieces, and then I'm gonna sandwich them in with these weights right here. All right, so while I'm waiting for this to dry, I decided it's time to wrap the sides of this in leather. So I went down to see my buddies over at Santa Barbara Upholstery, and I got myself 1 yard of some black vinyl material. This right here cost me 14 bucks, a lot of bang for my bucks.
That wasn't funny, man.
I need some of this 3M spray and my trusty stapler. What I'm gonna do is cut some of these pieces up. The sides of this are gonna get wrapped. Some of this fabric spray. All right, so now what we're gonna do is let this sit for about 10 or 15 minutes, let it get a little tacky. We're gonna put this thing on. It's been 15 minutes. This stuff has gotten a little tacky. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and put this on.
Let's go. Yeah, it's poppin'. Yeah, you know it's poppin'.
Scissors
I'm
out.
all up in the club, so
Look
you
to cut
know them
a
bottles
little bit
poppin'. Man,
closer,
it's
so
poppin'.
we
It's
have
poppin'. Yeah, we get it poppin', and them bitches on the dick, so you know that they pussy poppin'. Man, it's poppin'. It's poppin'. Yeah, we get it poppin', and them white girls got pills, so they get to poppin'. Yeah, it's poppin'. It's poppin'. Yeah, we keep it poppin'. If your haters got a problem, then my guns will get to poppin'. Every night you know I party like there's no tomorrow. Bitch, you can't afford my time like I'm an automobile. It's you
As you're doing this leather, you want to be pulling it tight. It's nice.
You know them bottles poppin', man, it's poppin', it's poppin'. Yeah, we get it poppin', and them bitches on the dick, so you know that they pussy poppin', man, it's poppin', it's poppin'. Yeah, we get it poppin', and them white girls got pills, so they get to poppin'. Yeah, it's poppin', it's poppin'. Yeah, we keep it poppin'. If your haters got a problem, then my guns will get to poppin'. I'm all in the club and I'm making it pop. Your bitch on my lap and I'm making it hot. I'm all in your crib and you are not home. Your bitch on your knees, she giving me dough. Part of my swag, I told you I'm on. I got it to spin, I got it to blow. You got it for show, cause your funds are low. Your hoes.
Now that this is all stapled up, I'm gonna use the scissors to cut the excess, and then I'm gonna come back with my X-Acto knife and clean it up.
Nobody know what it's gonna be. Damn, women always chasing, so them niggas always hating. Ratchets wanna have my baby, yeah, I know that shit sound crazy. Yeah, it's poppin', yeah, you know it's poppin'. I'm all up in the club, so you know them bottles poppin', man, it's poppin', it's poppin'. Yeah, we get it poppin', and them bitches on the dick, so you know that they pussy poppin', man, it's poppin', it's poppin'. Yeah, we get it poppin', and them white girls got pills, so they get to poppin'. Yeah, it's poppin', it's poppin'. Yeah, we keep it poppin'. If your haters got a problem, then my guns will get to poppin'.
Alright, so a couple of the staples sticking out a little bit. A little biggie. Let's go hammer these in. So they're not sticking out. Alright, there it is. This side done. Just clean that out. Get another protector. This side done. Then we'll be adding some chrome strip on the edge, just like this. Look at that. Nice. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Well, I got both sides done, and as you can see, it's ready for the chrome trim. Hey, how you doing? No, I'm done now, I guess. What do you want to do? You want me to give you a hug and a kiss now? Alright, hug and a kiss. Come on. Alright, you want to go outside and play?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go outside and play. Well, this is where I end the video for now.
Yeah,
I'll come back.
Play with Daddy. And then